Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at some top teams for the upcoming Catch Cup, which we're going to have available for an entire week and no other cup. So you're forced to play this cup. What is this cup? This cup only allows you to play Pokemon that you caught during the season, so over the last 77 days or something, and that you built them. So you're going to have a limited amount of Pokemon available. For a lot of people that play Go Battle League for a long time, it's one of the worst cups possible because most Pokemon you already have built, but for those people, they might have to build another one or just wait out for a week. Otherwise, we're gonna take a look today at some teams that I created through, Pokemon that I asked you if you built them already this season, or Pokemon that were in the spawn pool, so something that you can definitely build during this time, so definitely feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy those kind of videos, and yeah, of course, here 42% only are subscribed, so feel free to subscribe. But let's take a look at the first slide here real quick, which is going to be some legend teams that are from Rise to the Occasion, as well as Inadequates asking other people here. Saw it on Twitter. I didn't use it for my teams at all, but here were some other options as well. Gonna link also Rise to the Occasion and Inadequates down below in the description. Check them out if you haven't already. But yeah, here were like some different teams as well. I feel like they are a little bit more on the expensive side, I would say. A lot of Machamp, a lot of Lickitung. I try to do not as many of those. Machamp was a spawn pool, or like the Meditite, as well as Lickitung I think as well, so like it is fair to use them. I feel like it's just a little bit excessive for a lot of people. They rather have something that they already built before, like those Pokemon you basically built once. So let's move on to the first team here. We're going to have a classic ABB style team. We're going to have one with the Whiscash in the lead. Whiscash was released as a shadow Pokemon if you had one from them and you got one during the event for it. Definitely a cool Pokemon to use right now. We're going to also have Gligar as well as Charizard here. You can also use Golbat. Golbat was available during the Halloween event. Quagsire had its community day. Lantern were available during 2 or 3 events during the season, so definitely if you haven't built a Lantern yet, this is the way to go. You definitely got some for this event, even I think for the one that's currently running, they have even Chinchou for it, so yeah, it's kind of wild. And Charizard, we had a community day for it this season as well, a community day classic, so this team looks pretty decent. Going to be a little bit weak against Pelipper if you don't run the Lantern in the lead. But yeah, like I don't know how many people are going to have Pelipper. I have it, I think, also in there somewhere, but I didn't find it as like one of the spawns, so maybe it wasn't even spawning, so it's very unlikely that you're going to encounter this one. Mentine as well. Jellicent is though very common because it's currently available during the fashion event, so definitely something that is interesting for you to notice, so that might be a little bit of an issue, but again, if you have Lantern in the lead, you're going to be fine against any of the weaknesses that you see currently on the screen. Moving on, next one going to be the most toxic one here. Also made my face cam a little bit smaller real quick, but that's going to be basically the most toxic one that you can play. We're going to have here the Steelix, which was available during one event. I think it was like some root event or whatever, where you're able to get Onyx a lot of times. Then we have Victory Bell, which is currently in grunts as well, plus the one leader has it. So like I saw a lot of people that built this in my... Like I did like a post in the community tab for YouTube where I asked people what they built, and a lot of people actually had Shadow Victory Bell, so that's why I put it in here. You could use also something like a different kind of grass type Pokemon, as I say so or whatever, but Victory Bell would be really nice. And then in the back you can use either the Trevenant or the Houndstone, and I kind of like Houndstone to be fair. And I feel like it's a little bit underrated, and as you can see here, it kind of works out pretty well with Steelix. Of course, you're going to have the weakness against Scrafty or also Obstagoon. Don't know how common they're going to be. Who knows? But still, this team would be really, really strong in general. I feel like it looks like a really good team on paper, and Steelix plus Victory Bell is going to be a very toxic core for this kind of meta, so feel free to use it or not. Please don't use it against me. But we can move on to the next one. This is kind of a similar team to what I played back in the day. I think it was like season 3 or something in the Great League. I played Toxic Rogue, Galarian Stunfisk, as well as Drifblim. And the Toxic Rogue Drifblim core is really good in the current meta as well. And I kind of want to even try it out in the Open Great League because I feel like Drifblim is kind of underrated. Beating both Gligar as well as Medichim is really cool. Still being decent against a lot of other Pokemon is really cool. So maybe like the... Drifblim might be something of like those underrated Pokemon. You could even argue to play Drifblim with both the Icy Wind as well as the Mystical Fire, because it's going to allow you to beat Machamp, Gligar, as well as any kind of Steel type like the Alolan Sandslash, which is really common. So this would be a really cool idea as well. But here, as a say-swap, and in the back we're going to have the Jellicent, which is currently spawning. Very good Pokemon to have if you haven't built this one yet. Really good in the current meta because again, it's a Pokemon that can basically break the Gligar plus Medicham core pretty easily, as well as going to have some great matchups along the way as well, so it's going to be very nice. Cool thing about the Toxic Rogue in the lead as well is that you have Mud Bomb, which is really cool for Lantern. So you have 2 Pokemon in the back here, for example, that would be weak to Lantern, and here you would have a decent answer for it. Also, if you don't have a Drifblim, but you of course have a Lickitung build, would be an option as well here. Next one is the same team, but kinda reversed, but also with Arctibax. Arctibax is a really cool Pokemon. We have some more teams coming up for this one as well. One of the Pokemon that I built as well. If you have an Arctibax and you haven't built one, like if you could build an Arctibax, definitely would recommend you. Very strong Pokemon. Make sure though to have like around like 5 attack, 5, 15, 12 or something is like ideal for it, because you're going to get a break point against Lickitung. Here we're going to have the Sasop of the Shadow Sneasler. You can also use other kind of Pokemon for that role there, but just basically the Sneasler plus Toxic Rogue backline again, which I like to play as well with this team. And again, it looks really solid on paper. Again, also a lot of those really expensive Pokemon, especially if something like Registeel. Registeel will not be available during that time, because Registeel wasn't available during the season, so you don't really have to care about those kind of Pokemon. Going to be very interesting. So yeah, again, here this team should work pretty well if you have those Pokemon. Next one, going to be, of course, with my friend, the Clodsire. Clodsire is, of course, one of the Pokemon that most people already built this season, because it's a new one, and it definitely pairs really well with some Ghost-type Pokemon like the Sableye or the Kovac Regus, so definitely something that I would recommend you to try to build a similar way here. Again, Sableye is also currently available during, like, from the leader, which is kind of making me want to choose it for the video as well. But again, if you don't have a Sableye build, there are other Ghost types available during the season, which also work out pretty well, as you can see here. Manibus can be a little bit of an issue, but Poison Sting plus Sludge Bomb should still kind of work well against it. Moving on to the next team, we're going to encounter here now a team with a double fire backline. I'm not too sure about this one, to be fair, because the issue for this team might be the Clodsire, which could be a little bit of an issue for like something like Skeledirge, something like Ninetales. So if you have Charizard is way better for Clodsire, because Earthquake is good, doing resisted damage instead of super effective damage. So, for example, here, yeah, the Charizard going to help you out a little bit more. This team looks a little bit more awkward on paper, but I feel like it's still going to be a little bit better when you actually play it. Either a Grass type in the lead or the Lantern. Lantern going to also allow you to beat other Water type Pokemon, while you need it, of course, for a double fire backline, as well as, of course, any kind of Grass type going to be able to do the same thing. You could even argue of going for something like a Shadow Dragonair in the lead, which should work out pretty well as well if you have this Pokemon build currently in the rotation as well. Have a lot of really decent ones from like Cliff. I'm really hunting Cliff for the shiny, and I still don't have it after like 20 attempts or something. So Cliff, give me the shiny. Moving on to the next one, we're going to have a similar team that we had prior already. We're going to have again the Arctibax plus the Jellicent in the lead. We're going to have a Sasop here, our Clodsire, which is going to have access to Sludge Bomb as well as Earthquake. Again, great coverage moves, very good as a Sasop in general in the current meta. Arctibax plus also the Jellicent going to be one of the coolest Pokemon here during this catch cup, because they're going to be able to beat the Clodsire pretty easily, going to beat a lot of the currently available Pokemon. So very strong Pokemon to have here. Clodsire very good as a Sasop, and Toxapex in the back, basically trying to take advantage of whatever the Clodsire gonna get out of the way. Most likely something like Quagsire would be very common, most likely as well during this cup, but we're also going to have a team. I think we already had Quagsire early on anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So this team definitely should work out pretty well as well. Next one going to be the final one as well for today, going to be Flyer Double Ground, which again, as said as well, Quagsire again in the team here. Going to be very easily to obtain and very cheap to build as well, especially if you got Charizard from the community day here. Charizard is 10k charge move unlock, Quagsire is I think 50, but the Wishcaster is again 10. And again, this team looks really decent on paper and should work out pretty well. Don't know really what's going to happen with the meta, we're going to have to see that later on, but hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like and check out also the videos on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.